David Abrahams made it on time. Good afternoon from Bristol. I showed there was a rehearsal at 10 o'clock. Remember that Besson European video? If you haven't seen it, you think I've joined my Q&A in a complete state of madness. But I love the Bristol accent. I love the way it goes up at the end, even when it's not a question. Oh, I miss that Bristol accent. I had 3 years of that when I was at university. I thought everyone was asking me a question, and it's like, it's not a question. It went up at the end. Good morning, Mark Stevens. Are you ready for another Q&A? I guess so. I'm here. Apologies if it was covered last week. I continue to struggle with the fluttering sound. Oh, stop the fluttering sound, David. Pull yourself together. Oh, no. Hang on. That's not what Q&A is about. Is it less apparent to me when I sing or hum or whistle? Best way to address the fluttering sound? Well, we'll come to that in a minute. I just want to see how everyone is, because officially we're still half a minute early. Now, this is not product placement. I just happened to need a coffee. I've had a busy day today so far. Day of rest, Sunday. Forgot about that bit. Bit stressful. Mum and Dad are both in hospital at the moment. And yes, it's the first time in my life that they've both been in the same hospital together, independently. Never mind. Nice day here. Temperatures slowly rising out of winter. Right, questions piling up. That's good. That's good. Keep them coming, because I'm going to go quick once we start. Oh, it's 4 o'clock. I got to drink my coffee. That green chair looks kind of weird there, but it's not going to move now. Good afternoon, Micah. Good afternoon, Geert. Oh, Geert, you've given me a difficult surname. Why do people with difficult surnames come on Q&A? Giesbetz. Giesbetz. Geert Giesbetz. What do I think of the, I nearly did it, burp, B-E-R-P, system for buzzing? That's a good question. You know, what I don't like about that is the fact that everybody straps them to their lead pipe. If you know anything about Lefrec or airflow, what you don't do is clamp things to the front of your instrument. So I have no problems about people doing that kind of thing, but don't strap it to your mouth pipe receiver, because at the very moment that raw, beautiful energy is going into your mouthpiece, you do not need to clamp anything to anything that's going to affect the flow of the harmonic series. So the idea of some resistance training is fine, so long as it's a trainer and not a new normal, if that makes sense. I kind of have one here. I'm glad you can't see in this drawer again, but I did have a similar device here. So a resistance trainer. It's very good for solidifying the sound, improving your listening, and working on airflow. So the burp system is okay. It's a cheap little thing, shouldn't cost you much. Don't stick it on your receiver. Every time I see somebody like that, I say, well, if it's my student, I just say, take it off. So good is the answer, not to be overdone. And you can't rely on things like the burp to fix all your problems, because if you do that and then you can't play without it, wasn't much of a benefit. So David Abrahams, dear David, who's been such a loyal supporter to all my classes and of course Bolsover Summer School, is worrying about a stuttering sound. I'm presuming it's something that's happening here, but of course, like all things, it's probably starting its problem a little bit further down with the airstream. As usual, this chopstick used to be completely straight. I've been beating it on the table for so long. It's not going back in the kitchen. So if our air is good, the lips really shouldn't panic. Of course, as you get older, things all start going a bit south and harder to control. So, but it's not just an age thing, to be honest, David. And of course, getting on to. So if I try and replicate that stuttering sound, it's not a vibrato. It's an air that's too high in the chest. The same people normally get lightheaded when they breathe fast or asked to breathe deeply. It's connected with the fact that the air is here. So the lips have now inherited a new job. Control all the vibration, control airspeed, control. And they can't then vibrate freely. So move the air control center from here, shows portly figure, to here. So think about controlling lower down. That's, David, the best thing. And if you can spend a few days doing that, let me know how you get on. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. There's somebody there called 12 p.m. in Korea, Bin Plo. Hi, midnight in Korea, and you're still listening. Can't sleep? I shall sing you a lullaby. You'll soon be asleep. Thank you for watching. Oscar, you won an Oscar. Hello, Stephen. Sorry to hear about your parents. Thank you very much. That's really kind of you. Dad had a fall in the care home and has been in hospital for 2 days. We can't get really through to the ward, except we found out today that he's had an x-ray to see if he's had a fracture. Mum has developed some big problems in her lower gut and went in on hospital on Wednesday, was hoping to come out today, but we knew from a few days ago, no chance. She's got some complications. She's got a tube going down her throat. And the saddest of all is that she, of course, Dad has Alzheimer's, and Mum hasn't seen him for 10 weeks. And the saddest part is that she actually, as a patient in the hospital, went to his ward yesterday to say hello, which should have been wonderful. But poor Dad was so confused. He didn't really recognize his lovely wife and our mother of 62 years. So we think it's because Dad was so out of his comfort zone of the care home and didn't expect to see people. So it's been a rather stressful few days, but thanks. A lot of people have written messages to us, which we really, really appreciate. So thank you. When am I coming to Jeju? Well, I am pretty sure that I will be there in August, although the Jeju festival has contracted because of the bloody virus this year quite hugely. It's now a 5-day festival instead of 9-10 days. Pretty much all Jeju Korean-based artists. The competitions will be held by video and adjudicated in Korea. But I do hope to be there as artistic director, so long as the 2-week quarantine rule has been lifted by August. And Korea has been doing really well. I think they've had a flare-up, but I'd love to come to Brazil. Pedro, I really enjoyed, I don't know if you were on that chat I had with the Brazilian Tuba Euphonium Association the other day, but that was nice to see 100 people. I had to flick through the pages on Zoom to see everybody. But a great chat, some brilliant translations from Fernando Dedos and Jefferson de Lima, my ex-student from the RNCM. Okay, not too many questions yet. I guess you're all sitting there going, he seems to, his hair is very short today. I've seen that shirt before. Ask me a bloody question. Hello to Scotland. Hello to, okay, Carsten, you don't sound like, hello to Scotland. Hello, Scotland! On a good day, when there's a wind going north, they could hear that. But Drew, is slow melody playing a lost art, given how test pieces these days focus so much on technique? Drew, that is a fantastic question. And I was asked the same question by the live chat we had with the Italian brass band just on Thursday afternoon. Basically, test pieces have got that difficult, that technical. Have we forgotten how to play slow melodies? Well, if we have, it's our fault. I don't think you can blame a composer or composers who write difficult music of a technical nature for us to forget how to play slow melodies. Although as an art, it probably is dying, like singing in schools has died largely, apart from some schools, some shining examples. So it's a really good time. And I feel that during this lockdown period, people have reassessed what they practice, gone back to basics, played melodies, nice songs. People have been in the street on a Thursday night, playing Somewhere Over the Rainbow and other beautiful tunes. Maybe, and we haven't had difficult test pieces to distract us. But I do think, with the demise of slow melody contests, maybe we should reinstate them. Maybe I shall make a slow melody contest. We should be associating songs that we play with the words associated with how we play it. We should think about phrasing and expression and rubato and finding the arc of a melody and following it and using the appropriate dynamic and taste and color. So I think it's not lost, Drew TPT, but I do think there is a danger that unless contest organizers pick a mixture of old and new pieces, unless conductors can seize upon every moment to think about beautiful melody, that's supposing they can remember. So it is a worry. It's not a worry for me. I play at least an hour a day slow music to work on my tone, entertain myself. And I firmly believe it's an absolute essential grounding to everything we do, is to play, especially with low brass, especially with euphonium. My goodness, we are the voice. We are the voice. So, I don't know why I said that. We are a beautiful singing voice. So we do need to use a vocal approach, and we need to think, and we need time. You can't just play a tune and go, that's it. I've had my fill. Sebastian Kleinlosen, could you show us the use of the main trigger slide, please? With pleasure. With pleasure. Okay. So we are talking about this lever here. Many professional euphoniums, and dare I say it, some intermediate and even student euphoniums coming from Far East and managed to get triggers on their instrument. And I think I may have told the story last week. I saw them first in Japan in 1991. I had my trigger fitted the year after. And of course, operated by the thumb of the left hand, can lower the pitch quite considerably. Now, there's a question coming up about why I don't use Lefrec. And actually, these two questions can be linked. So Mark and Carsten, let me just try and link the question about the use of the main tuning slide and Lefrec plates. So inherently, most brass instruments are out of tune. Those instruments that say they somehow have superior tuning or don't need a trigger are talking not the complete truth, because they may have fixed some notes in certain pitches, but they've then got other notes that go in there. It's always a compromise. So now, on my old euphoniums, I would use tons of trigger on constant E flat, E natural, and F. But actually, on this new gold lacquered Best and Prestige, because of what we have done, or what I've suggested with the lead pipe, we don't need so much trigger. But traditionally, it's those notes, those high notes, and some mid-range notes like concert G. If you blow that really loud, that can also go up. So, well, all the notes can go up in pitch if you play loud and don't correct. But the trigger is there to correct them. So back to the plot here. We did some testing. I think I talked about this last week. And I decided that we would remove the metal stay that sits halfway down here. And this is such a critical area. And I discovered that because I did use the Lefrec plates for a couple of years, and they are still extraordinarily useful on instruments that don't have this kind of fix, which is about 85% of euphoniums actually sound better with the Lefrec plates that connect the mouthpiece to the mouthpiece receiver. 41 millimeter plates. They add airflow. They actually smooth out some little kinks that go in the airflow because of interruptions to the lead pipe. This is why I don't like to see the burp clamped on the front. All the questions link up today. How incredible. In Jeju. No. So when I discovered that this was a critical area, we took away that. And for the gold lacquered Besson, now there is no stay there. If you want to put something there, you can, but it won't really help. Now, there was a really important connection to that question. Yes. Okay, so here we are. Bear with me. When I was in Beijing 2 years ago, I tested a very fine Besson intermediate series. They changed the numbers, but at the time it was the 767, and it was fine, except I thought the angle of the lead pipe was in the wrong place. So I was having to play the euphonium like this instead of this. So I suggested to them that they bend the lead pipe in a normal angle, fix it differently, and all will be well. I was in Japan about 9 months later, after the fix had taken place, and there was a 767 euphonium that had that mouthpiece and the mouth pipe in the right angle. And I thought, right, this should be fine. They said, we're very worried about this instrument. I said, what's the problem? Tuning. And I said, well, I tested it in Beijing, had a great sound. Tuning seemed fine. Could you please test it? And I can't demonstrate how out of tune it was. It was like some strange Arabian scale. And I kind of had to play it a few times and check with the tuning machine. The Japanese sales guys were looking there, kind of shaking their heads. And I said, Houston, we have a problem. What do we do? And I started looking at it and looking at it. And then I realized that the way that they'd bent the receiver to get the right angle, they then put the stay back actually about 1 centimeter as you look at the instrument to the right, closer to the. So the only thing I could think of was, could you please take one of these instruments? They had a few. Could you take it away, remove the stay, and come back? Okay. So they removed the stay of this student instrument. And the difference to the tone, to the airflow, and especially to the tuning was dramatic. So when you find a production, one of those, that stay is gone and the tuning is great. So it's very clear to me that the Lefrec and that point of the instrument was critical. On this, I probably use this trigger about 1/4 what I used to do years ago with the London Mead prestiges and the German ones. So very interesting things, very important at the front of the instrument. So I jumped off the bandwagon, Mark, because I don't need them anymore. I put them on and they make no difference, which is a good sign, you know. Take a pill, fine, you didn't feel ill in the first place, that kind of thing. Some very strange here names. Rod Lips. I presume that's your real name. How are your lips? I have rod lips. I still do the ones I learned from your masterclass in Alicante 3 years ago. Good man. Well done. Benefits of breathing exercises. Absolutely. Yeah. Look, if you haven't seen the classes we did, gosh, it seems weeks ago now. The online classes I did, 11 a.m. on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Go back and look at those because they all start with the basics: good posture, relaxing, being positive, and spaces. So you may think you know all the breathing exercise in the book, but if you then go, you're only going to cause yourself damage, because it has to be open. So the openness, and if you do enough breathing exercises, remember this, euphonium club people? Of course you do, because you now do it every day before you play. 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 12 seconds. So thank you very much that you remembered from the masterclass in Alicante. Nothing changes, really. You know, I find some new exercises that I like, but people did classes with me 25 years ago will say, yeah, I remember that one. So you just got to do them. You know, it's all right having information, and then you go, that's not you, sir, or you, madam. But you know what I mean? We can have a head full of information, but because we're all creatures of habit, and those habits were fixed by the time we were about 14, quite hard to change, you know? Marius. Hello, Marius. Good afternoon, Stephen. I have a question. Do you consider a note bend exercise to be a basic or more advanced technique that should not be practiced before basics are mastered? That's a very good question. And I've never thought about how important that they are, Marius, but they are important. We all know lip flexibilities, long tones, those kind of building blocks of embouchure control are really important. People avoid flexibilities because they're kind of difficult and it's easier to use the tongue. Naughty. Some people also do the flexibility, but it's like you're trying to rip the jaw off your face. So minimum movement. There's going to be some movement. I mean, I hate it when people come up to me and kind of, you're moving. I'm human. I have a pulse. But as little movement as possible. So the lip bending, where does that fit in? Well, this is much smaller, localized control that actually can improve your sound, improve your general legato, because we inherently find absolutely the center of a note. Let's see if I can explain. And if we don't take control, we drop. So I think semitone shifting, if we can do it, or even a quarter tone bend, so long as we know that we're doing it. As you go lower, they're not easy to do, and most people try for a moment and then give up. So get some good semitone bends. Once you get to low C, treble clef, whole tone, even minor third, because you have to be open. The air has to be massive. So there's lots of spin-off benefits as well as controlling several tiny little pairs of muscles inside here. So semitone bending at a basic level is good, and the more advanced you get and the more you want to explore that technique, then go right down through the range. Take it higher. Of course, it's much higher once you get above middle G and up, but definitely worth persevering with. Most people trip at the beginning, but can quite easily manage some bending afterwards. Good question. Thank you very much. Where can I hear Philip Sparks' Euphonium Concerto, third and fourth movements? He's written 3 concertos. So are you thinking, oh no, third and fourth movement? Philip Sparks Euphonium Concerto, third and fourth. I don't know any Spark concertos with a fourth movement. I know the Ellaby has a fourth movement. What do you mean? Mr. Jeju, could you write that question again? I've almost certainly recorded it, so that's the short answer. Hello, Joy. What do you think of plastic youths? I'm sorry. Oh, plastic euphoniums. They could be exciting. Most of them sound rubbish, but there could be some benefits. Could you please show us about the weight of the weight of the V? The weight of the V. Weight of the V. Is this code? The sign of the V. Joy, re-explain that question. Oh, the different weights of the valves. Now I read your next question. Makes sense. Okay, plastic euphoniums are basically crap. They're cheap and they're colorful, and kids go, "Oh, I want to play it." And the last bit is the important bit. Oh, I want to play it. So if we can get your plastic euphoniums for 250 quid, and you can start 10 kids playing, and then take them away and give them back to people who go, "Oh, he's pretty, I want to play," that's fine. I suppose if you insist that you only play in the rain outside, also a good reason. But, they're not good. They don't sound good, and the tuning is designed by somebody with no ears, usually. But as a starter, and for, you can probably get 5 of these things for 1,000 quid. Where else can you get 5 euphoniums for 1,000 quid? So it's a starter thing. Young kids, but get them on to good student instruments after about a year, would be my advice. Different weights on the valves. Now, this is really interesting. I think we talked about this before. Now, we're talking about the valve tops and bottoms, okay? And some instrument manufacturers supply second sets that are lighter or heavier than the set on the instrument. They do make a difference. Not a huge difference. You're not suddenly going to be able to play fast or high notes, but there's an element of control that if you have all heavy top and bottom caps, basically, and I'm oversimplifying horribly, the instrument controls the airflow for you. So it's like driving a car where, it's got its own steering system where you don't go outside the white lines. I'm exaggerating, but there's more the instrument controls itself. If you put lighter caps, there is a sport element. Again, I'm thinking about cars. There is a sport element in the way that the instrument handles, and it's a little bit more sensitive to the air that you put in it. So some people say, well, that's fine, but it feels like it doesn't move, and I don't like the feeling of this. So mix them up. And so on my instrument, you will see that these first two are lighter and this is heavier. By all means, switch them around, or have 2 heavy, 1 light, 1 light, 2 heavy. But if you have a Besson instrument and you are able to change them over, it takes time. You got to take the valves out, take the springs out. It's 5-6 minutes per change. But listen, if you find something that you think, oh my God, this is better, then that 5 or 6 minutes is pretty good, isn't it? It's the same time of putting on a kettle and making a cup of tea. And this is going to help you playing forever. So I use light, heavy, 1, 2, 3. And many other players do too. I've met other players that prefer heavy, light. So it's just the difference of control that there is in the valve group. I don't really know why. I'll be honest with you. There are some things where you go, yes, that's different. Yes, you were mistaken. There's no 4th movement. 10 press-ups. Sorry. So if you do have a spare set of top and bottom caps, and they're in a drawer somewhere, or probably still in the case because you couldn't be bothered to take them out, try them and let me know if anybody finds something astonishing, like, my hair grew back, No, I mean with your instrument. Let me know. Really, send me a private message. Ooh. Okay, so plastic use crap. Yeah, we did that. Joy, different weights. We've done that. Eros, greetings. I was wondering the relationship between Philip Spark and you. Purely platonic. He's just a good friend. No, Philip Spark and I go back a very long way to, I guess we met in the early 1980s. I'm not sure how we met, but the first time we started working together closely was when I started doing some recording for polyphonic So the World of the Euphonium series, Euphony, concertino. Philip Spark was on all those. He was the recording engineer. So we got a really close bond. He understood my playing. He said when he was writing the Diamond Concerto, as he wrote every note, he could hear me playing it. Now that's wonderful. And I love his music. I think he's a genius. And he's going to write me Euphonium Concerto number 4 for my 60th birthday in 2 years' time. Did I mention that last week? Maybe not. But wonderful musician. Look, just a composer that everybody loves playing his music and everybody loves listening to it. And it's good music. And it's, yeah, he's just a genius. And I hope he lives forever. So yeah, we met, and we also did some work together with the brass band of Battle Creek. I recorded the tribute album in Michigan University. Got to get this right. Not University of Michigan, Michigan State University. And so he came out for all those sessions, developed a relationship with the brass band of Battle Creek, hence Music for Battle Creek. And the piece that this weekend, Joe Alessi, was supposed to be premiering with Battle Creek. And of course, that's cancelled. We're fingers crossed we'll be there in December, but we just don't know yet. So a wonderful guy, and one of the funniest people I ever met. If you ever get the chance to be in his company or stand by watching him with other people, he's nearly always telling a joke. And I don't know, I mean, he's written many pieces, but he's got thousands of jokes that he can tell. And yeah, brilliant, just brilliant guy. So Brian Downey. Hello, Brian. Hi. Thanks for getting in touch. Stephen with a V. With so many contests being cancelled in the future, would you have any suggestions for bands players to focus their practice rehearsal on? Yeah, Brian, you know, this was the whole reason why we did these warm-up classes, for people to try to get challenges, personal challenges, to fix problems that have been maybe around a long time, become motivated to learn new music, improve all their skills, so that when we are back together, you'll be rejuvenated, whether all your colleagues will be rejuvenated or blowing the dust off their instruments at the first rehearsal. But that we can only do what we can do, which is stay in shape and stay motivated, organize our practice routine. So I would say learn new music, get some new study books, find some solos you like on Spotify, euphonium players on Spotify. My God, there's 1,000 pieces there. Get the music, be hungry to learn some new music. Say, I love that tune. I love that solo. I may not be able to play it yet, but I'm going to get that and have a go. You know, that's what's going to get us through the next few months. That and bands getting together to record remotely. If your band is doing that, enjoy it. Try and get your part as perfect as possible. If your band isn't doing that and no one's mentioned anything, maybe you're the one to say, couldn't we do something? You know, I honestly think now that you can hear, obviously with German football went back yesterday, things are starting to move to what we used to call normal, but it won't be for a long time, as I think we know. But the first rehearsals that the band does, if you think that we all have to be 2 meters spaced and you think of the size of your band room, maybe you have big band rooms, in which case lay out the floor plan, you know, and as soon as you can get in there, start playing. It's for many people, you realize how much you miss it when it's not there. But it may be that the first 2 months of rehearsals would be half a band, half a band. Now that could be top end of the band, bottom end of the band, spread around the band room. But let's get playing. And then that final moment when you can all sit together and play is going to be one of the happiest days of your life. I really believe that. So as soon as we can, even if you start to do rehearsals outside, you know, we can meet outside. We can meet friends, and we have to be spaced out. But let's be creative around this problem. You know, we don't want to break any rules. We don't want to do anything that's going to compromise the safety of people. But let's think creatively about how we can get together. You know, the online stuff is great. You know, I suppose we're all a little bit tired of seeing, you know, the same faces on a cappella, you know, popping away. But why not? You know, if you don't like it, don't look at it. It's good for those people, and many people enjoy it. I often like random people doing something where they've clearly taken some trouble and care. I think it's fantastic. And bands, I've seen, goodness me, 100 bands remotely playing together. It's amazing. It's beautiful, all with their little characters coming through. I've done some online sessions with bands. And if your band, there are many people that are prepared to do it, just approach your favorite soloist or player and say, could you do an online Zoom with our band? Tell us about how you started to play, any tips, and some nice discussions to keep that band spirit going. So I think there's things for now, there's things in the near future, and then there's like, what should we do when we can start to meet? And as I say, half a band, 2 meters apart, go by the rules, instruments clean, clean the band room, all that stuff, just like you're in a hospital ward, until this damn virus is going away. Of course, fully away. At what point do we say we're normal? It's not till we all have the vaccine, I guess. So the new normal is going to be what we deal with. Whether contests come back sooner, the areas next year, we just don't know. We really don't know. So I don't want to speculate on that. But let's think what we can do that requires our energy and our commitment to music and playing together. That's really important, So if it's just a cornet sectional, spread out around the band room, boom, 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 9 players, playing some pieces together. Get playing as soon as we can. And, if schools are closed, how about school tennis courts? Get out there, spread the band out, boom, play something, even if it's for half an hour, So my creative imagination is going, let's get us playing so that we also don't sacrifice any of the progress, let's call it, that we've made. Yeah. Thank you, Brian. Hope you're well. Vito, good afternoon, Stephen. Good afternoon, Vito. What can you tell us about that new mouthpiece of yours? Well, you should have been here last week. I told the whole story, and that's still online. How does it compare with the previous designs? And most importantly, when will it be for sale? Okay, very briefly, I'll go through it again. And if anybody needs to have a yawn or have a cup of tea, this is the Ultra. This is the new one, which has a name which I can't tell you. So you can see it's a lot bigger at the top. It has more of a cup shape at the bottom. Internally, like my glasses, these could be fashionable. Screenshot, anyone? I'll give you a minute. It's really to combine the best features of the SM mouthpiece with this is the combination between the Ultra and I don't have another SM here, but they're still both really popular. And I don't suggest that everybody rushes out and buy this. There won't be enough to go around. It's a bit like the vaccine, this thing. So, and I love it because for me, it does things with the air support. I'm not sure if you can hear any difference, to be honest. So don't write in and say, oh, they're both the same. Certainly the feel is different. I know with this one, boom, the control is 100%. Does it itself. Thank you very much. I'm selling this, aren't I? It's going to be £1,000 each. And this one, I haven't played this for a while. I'm now controlling it more. You can hear, if you've got headphones on, a slight shake. So this is going to be the dog's Wotsits. Not sure what that is in Korean. When's it coming out? I don't know. Actually, I don't know. It was going to be April, May, and then it was going to be July, and then it could be October. It could be the end of the year. It could be November. I've got to get to the factory. We've got to design the 3 and the 3D, and we have to design the 4D. This is the 4 and a 5. And if these will work, then we'll do scaled down versions for baritone and maybe tenor horn, maybe up for the tuba. We don't know, but as soon as possible. In the meantime, enjoy your Ultra and SM mouthpieces. And if you're on a 3 and you need a 4, go ahead, buy a new one. I have lots of stock. Yes. So there we are, Vito. You got the in on that. There is a name, but I can't tell you what it's going to be. Not that I've forgotten. Andrew Hodge. Hi, Stephen. I recently eagerly watched your video because in pantomime, yes, to resolve some issues. Can you comment on alternative fingerings, D, G, 1 and 3 and 5 slow passages? So I'm presuming you mean the last section, Andrew, because I don't. There's a little bit. I tend to do some of the treble clef Gs, treble clef As on third valve, and some of the E's also, because the tuning at that, well, on this instrument is very similar. With some instruments, E's and A's are a bit flat on third valve. I do a lot of third valve. I'm sorry. Is that bad? Do I have to hit myself on the head with this bottle? You naughty boy. No, Andrew, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. You should experiment on. Do I use them? Yes, I do some alternate fingers. You're talking about 1 and 3 and 4. I will only use 1 and 3 if it's really easy and the tuning doesn't show. If it has to be a lot easier, because I'm a fourth valve guy. But if there's some stuff, I will switch. But as soon as I think the note is long enough to hear the difference in tuning, and 1 and 3 on a 4-valve compensating instrument that compensates with the fourth valve, 1 and 3 is way too high. If you have a non-compensating instrument, 1 and 3 and 4 should be different, but you know what I mean. So do I use them? Yes. Hi, Carol. Thank you for watching. That's lovely. Another great. It's not over yet, Carol. It could all go a lot worse shortly. Pablo, have I need to disassemble the trigger if I'm going to clean the euphonium with water? Very good question. And the short answer is no, you don't. You need to, for example, on this, you need to unclip this, and you need to take out the main slide. You need the water and the cleaning in there. And then it should be fine. But please be very careful when you lay your instrument in the bath. This tube here is going to be hanging down, and some people put their instrument down with the trigger in the wrong place, and it comes off or breaks or bends, and then they say bloody bashin, bloody bashin. Not bloody bassin, bloody be careful. So you don't need, because honestly, disassembling the fourth valve, the disassembling bit is not that difficult. It's the putting it back afterwards, getting the spring in the right place. You could be there. You know, that's how I lost my hair, actually, reassembling fourth valve stuff. So just be careful when you lay it in the bath that the trigger lever, the adjustable lever, is really always where it should be. Scott. Hi, Scott. Greetings to Hong Kong. It's late night there. Are you still up? Still there? Or did you write the question and go to sleep? What do you think of playing a trombone mouthpiece on the euphonium? Thanks. Well, we always did, you know, until 1995. We always played trombone mouthpieces, instruments that were designed for the trombone, pretty much, and they sounded fine. So when I invented the SM series, I really wanted to design a mouthpiece that was going to sound like euphonium rather than something that was more cylindrical and too much. But ironically, of course, when you think back to the Vincent Bach mouthpieces that we were playing before then and such like, and even the Cozy Cups, this is not too dissimilar from that Vincent Bach shape. So what worries me, I think, are the trombone mouthpieces, which are super heavy, that have that extended cup, the extra weight. You know, once it goes over 190 grams, that's a serious piece of metal to have on the front of the euphonium, which is just going to make the air go boom. So I would say, Scott, if I can answer your question succinctly, if you have a student who has some production issues and the tongue needs more help, then a heavy top or a trombone mouthpiece that has a bit more boom that trombones tend to need, especially for orchestral stuff, then it could be a good short-term 1, 2, 3 year thing. Long-term, I'm not a big fan of trombone mouthpieces on the euphonium unless you're in a situation or environment where trombone sound is needed. If you're in a brass ensemble and you're the only euphonium and you've got trombones, do you want to go ooh and everyone else is boom? Because ooh will always sound ooh, ooh. So euphonium mouthpieces are designed to make euphonium sound optimum, and trombone mouthpiece is the same. So they may work, but there needs to be a reason why. And it may be a particular size. It may be a, 6.75 super duper trombone thing, which just suits your student. Perfect range, whatever. So that's kind of the medium long answer. Yeah. Drew, you again. It's another $10. Thoughts on recovery from daily practice so you can constantly build the next day and not tear down. Yeah, it's a very good question, Drew. You see, my feeling on this is that you should never practice until your lips are hurting. Really, maybe at the end of a rehearsal and the conductor says, let's play Pines of Rome again. And you don't want to be the one sucking. So sometimes you have to give when you're really not, but when you're practicing and you've done an hour and a half or 2 hours, or you've done your second session and you think, shall I just play through that physical thing again? No, if you don't feel that you're in top condition, don't. Okay. So end a practice as if you could do another 45 minutes. Don't get to the end of that and think, oh, and you're falling off top C's. That's a bad sign. I mean, triple C, not the normal one. And then what can you do so the lips feel better? Well, some of you know, and this looks terrible on video, euphonium lip flapping. Yeah, that's not my new profile picture. So just create some massive vibration. It's not buzzing, of course, it's flapping. This last thing before you switch off for the night, or when you put your instrument away, and then before you play in the morning, if you think your lips are a bit tight, some vowel sounds, A, E, I, O, U, like an athlete will, well, like all of us, will stretch a little bit, but especially athletes before they exercise. A, E, I, O, U. So just get this loosened up. Make sure you're hydrated as well. And then build up slowly. Low tones. If you think that your lips are anyway compromised the day before, then have a day where you don't play too many high notes. You're the boss of your own lips, We always complain when other people tell us what to do, So we have to control that a little bit. Yes. So, Drew, the most important thing is to play effectively with good air, look after the lips, stop practicing when you've done enough practice, not when your lips are knackered. Sebastian, again, question on the subject of valves. What is the main difference between the Mead Springs Original and Mead Springs Light? Okay, very good question. I should have some here, actually, but if I do a drawing, this is kind of approximate drawing. And if I'd have known, I would have... we have some springs here. But anyway, I'll finish my drawing. Okay. This is a diagram of the original set of springs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slightly decreasing, not in width, I'm sorry about that, but in height. First finger is nice and strong. Second finger is less strong. The third finger is weak. So the net effect of 1, 2, 3 in descending order is that it feels the same. Genius. The fourth valve, we don't need too much pressure. But this is presuming that your fourth valve is in good condition. It's similar to the third valve. The Mead Springs Light. Okay, so basically, if we number the valves 1, 2, 3, the light springs are all number 3s, all the same. So that's the light set. Little bit less tension for the whole hand. What a beautiful drawing. I've never done that before. 4th valve is the same as the 4th valve. So some instruments also have different spaces that you put the springs in. Yamaha, for example, is smaller than the Bessons. Some have weird kinks at the bottom where it's difficult, but you know, we don't get many complaints. We've sold, I think, 12,000 sets in the last 10 years, so not bad. But that's it. The heavy set is descending tension, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost the same. And the light set is basically a set of 3rd valve springs. But it's saying, if we said a set of 3rd valve springs, people say, can I have one for my 1st valve? No, the light set is all that same tension. Thank you for the question. We have lots in stock. Look forward to seeing your order by the end of the day. From Texas. Hi, Joel from Texas. That's wonderful. I was wondering if you had any recommendations for practicing Carmen Fantasy. Yeah, slowly. Look, if it's too hard, don't play it because it's only going to end in disappointment. But if you've got it and you like it and you really want to do it, section by section, you know, and just work every day on like a 16 bar, you know, stretch. If you've got real problems with the high notes, if you're then to begin with, just miss out some of the high notes, you know. It's a great piece. It's a really fun piece, but it, you know, it's a very advanced piece. And repeat. Make sure you can hear the melody notes, you know. The cadenzas, play them slowly. Don't play any runs where you kind of smudge the detail. So be really patient, Joel, with this. You know, it's a 12-minute piece that you could easily spend 6 months practicing on and off. You know, don't just hammer away at that. You know, I'm just making one vase. You know, do a little bit every day and come back to it, revisit it. You know, every bit of work that you do on that piece or other technical pieces, you won't forget, not if you fix it. If you don't fix it, it'll still be there for you to fix the day after. That's kind of how I look at it. You're mapping it looks like a map here, doesn't it? You know, there's Africa. No, what I'm saying, you're mapping that piece onto your brain, a very complex series of rhythmic and technical and flowing music. So you need to do it bit by bit, you know, and once you've mapped 16 bars onto your brain, I just look at the top of my head. Shall I? Once it's there, it'll be there. You could go away for a week, come back, you'll still be able to play it if you've learned it properly. And then doing that with phrase after phrase, linking sections together, and then have that ability to concentrate for 4 minutes and 4 minutes and 4 minutes, and then the whole lot. So it's a building process. I wish you good luck for that. Do you have any tips for working on circular breathing? Yeah, don't do it unless you really need it, is the first tip. You know, it's a bit like the other thing people love to do, you know, multiphonics. You know, find me a piece that's actually got it written in. There's only about 3 in the whole of the 5,000 pieces of music written for the euphonium, but people get besotted by it, you know. So if you get a glass of water and a straw, and you can keep the bubbles going, put some air in your mouth, close the throat, and then keep the bubbles going. Now, you may find that the bubbles drop off for half a second and then continue, but you're halfway there. And then do that again without lip vibration. So go from a glass of water and a straw, and of course, while you're inhaling through your nose, you're exhaling what's left in your hamster cheeks. So I'm sure there's some brilliant videos you can watch of people who make it look incredibly easy and can take you through step by step. I haven't seen any books on it, but that's the best way. And I think I mentioned before, occasionally in a band piece where there's a 16 bar long note and it says, you know, breathe as and when, that would be my only challenge, to actually do 16 bars, and it has to be quiet. And hopefully the noise of me, the noise of that, which is pretty disgusting when most people do it, does not drown out the sound of your pianissimo low E. So don't worry about that, Joel. Stick to calm and fantasy. You've got plenty of challenges there. Harold Epps, hi, good morning or good afternoon. Where are you, Harold? I've just scrolled you up. Good morning and afternoon from Canada, or is that California? Mission Viejo. Sounds like California, I think. Good man, you bought some music from the shop recently. I hope you're enjoying that Adam Weslowski concerto. Was it that one you bought, or was it the Howard Evans piece? Anyway, lots of nice stuff. Yoko, you retracted an image. Yes, that'll teach you. Andre Jesus, hi from Portugal. Hi, Andre. I was wondering how I can have a smoother sound in the low range. I can go through all the register, and some notes sounds a little aggressive. It can be my youth. It could also be your mouthpiece. It could also be you, because when we go low, sometimes we're so focused on getting the notes that we do different things. So my advice would be to think about legato and think approaching things. I guess a lot of people say, well, that sounds like common sense, but of course a lot of things are. Let's say we're going to start on low concert F. So, Andre, I wouldn't do anything adventurous. You know, don't go to the end of a bass trombone study book and go, let's go. You know, I would just get the sound nice. And each new note that you introduce, the same dynamic with a richness. And be very careful and be aware that as you go down, everything that's happening here is as little movement as possible, and you're in control. Don't let anything happen that involves walking down steps like that. So a smooth elevator movement. And then you can go. So they all come out the way you want, and then start higher. We're just doing it step by step, you know, like a builder building a house. You know, it's not going to, oh, there it is. Little by little, okay? And good luck with that. Smooth. And don't try and play forte in that exercise. MF, solid MF would be great. You would like to improve on that, yeah. Your new glasses screenshot is on the way. Very kind, Carsten. Thank you very much. Yoko, you're back. Hello, my practice of technical music doesn't connect with my practice of melody. Exactly what is the problem? Yeah, there's no simple answer. You see, I know people that spend a lot of time practicing technique. So you give them an Arban exercise, boom, 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 and off they go. Because that's, if you like, the pulse that they're working at, you know, like somebody with a a fast heartbeat. And if you've played technical music from when you were in a junior band, there's nothing like scary about it. It just gets harder and, you know, stuff as you get older. And lyrical playing, of course, is nice. We all like playing tunes. So I would say that you need to do more. You certainly need a metronome to help you, you know. I have lots of books. Today on my stand is this lovely book by Arturo Sandoval, and it's got some really great technical exercises. It's got some nice lyrical ones, but let's give you an example. There's an exercise here called staccato. Okay, now do 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 so I'd be really interested if I was working with you to hear a 4-bar phrase at a slow speed. Do, 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 to check that your machine is working. There is no point down, 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 da 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 da. This approach to technical playing is very worrying, you know. And I've always said that fast music is slow music speeded up. You know, the same boom, 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 ya da 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 dum ba ya da 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 dee da 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 da. So in a way, this is going to sound strange. I don't like to say lyrical music is over here and technical music is here. Music is music. Some of it just goes faster than others. So mix up your practice and then find some pieces like for euphonium, the Kerno Rhapsody, something that's got some lyrical stuff. Dum, dum, and some technical stuff. So you're practicing both at the same time. And then use the technical books, whatever you have, you know, and be patient. And everything you play, don't think of technical music as you know. Everything is lyrical, just some of it goes faster than others. That's not, you know, and peace and love and drink more tea. It's not that. It's actually, I really mean that. Fast music is slow music speeded up. So connect it by doing things at a melodic speed and increasing it. Sometimes people just say, I just can't think that quick. Like you read a book slowly and other people go like one of those old word processors, you know. So work at speed playing, you know. Just got a spring stuck on my finger. It's okay, nurse. Put that needle away. I'm fine. Thank you. Your new glasses. Yes, I've done that one. So good luck, Yoko. That would be great. Any advice on how to choose a mouthpiece, Damien? Yes. You know, look, the simple answer is test. But, you know, with so many things online, music stores closed, I would talk to people. If you look at some of the euphonium discussion groups and people come on, you know, with an innocent question, what mouthpiece? And of course, everybody rushes to the computer and say, you're going to buy mine. Everything else is crap. You know, so you've that to deal with on Facebook, but try and get some specific advice. So if you say, I play on a 4G mouthpiece and I want to get a warmer sound, then you need perhaps something that has a little bit more kind of euphonium friendly cup. But you may not, and you may say, look, my sound feels really squeezed. I play on a 6 mouthpiece. And I would say, have you tried a bigger rim? Have you tried a 5? And of course, it all depends on the air that you use. So get advice. If you have a friend at a band who has a mouthpiece that you think sounds good, just say, do you mind if I try it? You know, there's lots of ways. But the most important thing is to get a rim size. And so for euphonium, we're either 3s, 4s, or 5s generally. And the 4 is in the middle because it's the most popular size. If you've got strong chops and strong air, and you really want to get that big sound, especially in the middle and low register, you go for 3. If you don't use air particularly well and you need some help with your high range and you've got a small mouth, sorry, You've got a small mouth. Then maybe a 5 is fine. We don't sell many 5 mouthpieces these days. There are various shapes and sizes of 4 and some 3s and 3Xs. And other brands are, of course, available. So get advice, and then you're just going to have to take a chance. Don't go, don't follow the late, a craze that says you have to have a 2AL. It's got the biggest sound I ever heard. Oh, I get that. You need a medium-sized mouthpiece that's not too deep, not too shallow, and you need to practice. That's the short answer, Damien. Middle-sized mouthpiece and good practice. And then after that, you can see whether there's any mouthpiece that gives you clear articulation if your tongue is slow or whatever. Any tips? Hello, Ben. Hi. Tips for speeding up lip trills. Yeah, well, the most important thing is, before you speed it up, is that you can do it. May sound like nothing over the internet, but essentially, it's the old wavy line, exhibit 2 for this afternoon. This is the quality of British roads nowadays. Now, if you can do that, then maybe so I would practice that first. Now, when you go to the instrument, let's find a comfortable note. So if we take treble clef F and G, normally try and speed it up. So the way I would do it is to actually start with crotchets, quavers, triplets. And then your free trill bam, can roll out of the last one. So do it at a speed that you're controlling it. So recognizable note values increasing before you go to a freestyle lip trill. Not the most important thing. Send me a list of all the euphonium pieces that need lip trills. Very short list. Valve trills, semitone valve trills, whole tone trills, but written lip trill, there's not many. They tend to be cornet solos, but it's nice to do it, sure. But don't beat yourself up if you can't do it. Dana, good afternoon from Italy. Buon pomeriggio. My son is 9 years old and studies euphonium. What type of practice does he need? Regular, organized, and if he's 9 years old, not too much. I mean, he should be doing at 9 years old a maximum of 1 hour a day in 2 30-minute sections. I mean, he's still growing, his teeth are still delicate. So not too much. I worked with a 10-year-old cornet player today who won a competition that was hosted in Ireland on the internet. And his prize was a lesson with me, and a most wonderful talent. I think the greatest 10-year-old talent on a brass instrument I've heard, quite possibly. Lovely lad. Michael McDonald. Listen out for the name. Real, composed, bright, energetic, motivated. So yeah, we have to start somewhere. When I was 9 years old, I think I played every day. I think I did 40 minutes, So work from a good book, and ideally work with a good teacher. Now that combination, one will generally come with the other, so that everything is organized, that there's no steps missed out. Try and learn some music theory at the same time is very important. Try and sing. He's 9 years old. He doesn't know singing is not thought of as being not cool anymore. So 2 times 30 minutes basically, exercises and studies, and the second section can be the second session can be pieces and exam pieces and pieces that he likes, and it should be fun when you're 9 years old. This is not, teaching Chinese pianists to play Mozart at the age of 2.5. So you're from Italy, you're from a country steeped in music and history. Ideally, start playing with other people soon, little junior quartet. So his radar is listening to other sounds, also very important. Play with other people, an hour a day maximum, 40 minutes is okay, 30 minutes. And if he wants to miss a day, fine, because if he's good at music, he's probably good at other things, kind of how it works. Please say hi, Dana, to your son in Italy. Scott, he's still up. One of my students has a brace on his teeth. Does it really affect the high note? Often, sometimes we get single braces, and of course some students have double braces, and it's going to affect the high notes. And depending on the age of the student, Scott, we have to go very easy here. I would say lots of reinforcement, breathing exercises, lots of easy mouthpiece exercises, and try and find pieces that don't stretch the high range, because they may be able to get the high notes, but we don't know, because we can't see it, what's happening inside there. So find some pieces. You're a very resourceful guy. Find some studies that and pieces that don't go above, treble clef F or G. If it's a 16-year-old student and they have exams to do, we're going to have to find a way by minimizing pressure. Lots of work, almost with the instrument kind of hanging from the ceiling. And the lips and the body is very resourceful for playing with reduced pressure when we have to. Normally, braces are just on the upper teeth. So, it's the high notes that are going to be impacted more than the low notes. But shorter practice sessions, 45 minutes is probably too long. 25 minutes, take a break, 25 minutes. If they're really keen, they'll do another 25 minutes. But I would limit it to that, more focus on breath, and pick repertoire carefully, and don't insist on fortissimos being fortissimos. That would be my composite advice, Scott. Mark from West Texas. Wow, big fan of you and Misa. Thank you, Orion. That's wonderful. I'll never forget when my teacher, Tim Kelly, introduced me to your playing. Thank you so much. I hope you're having a lovely day. David Abrahams, recircular breathing. Mike Dodd. Yes, wonderful guy. Did a circular breathing demo on YouTube. So that's the one to find. Mike Dodd, circular breathing on YouTube. I'm sure you can all see it in the chat if you're looking. So go find it. Wonderful guy, Mike, very skillful and one of the most secure players in a brass band you'll ever hear. My goodness me. I don't think I ever heard him play a wrong note in a competition. Harold, you are in California. Sometimes CA, when I'm doing my web store, CA is also Canada. What do you think about plastic instrument or tuba? We've done that. They're crap. Except for, you may say, that's a little bit rude. My company actually makes them. Well done. Good. Make them more in tune, and do some testing on the tube lengths before you produce them. But they could be really good for young kids, because they tend to be colorful, red euphoniums, blue I've seen. I'm not sure I've seen a green one. There probably is a green one, but who wants to play green euphoniums like they all used to be before hygiene was invented? How do you decide if a tremolo or ornamentation goes up or down? They always go up, unless the composer says go down. A tremolo stays the same. That's why it's called a tremolo. Trills go up, and ornamentations, if it's so if it's just written, it's like taking me back to my high school days. Pay attention, children. So this sad man with an upside down umbrella and no stick, this goes bam, usually as fast as possible. Sometimes the composer puts a line through it Ba-da-dum, be-da-da-da-dum, bum. Ba-da-dum, ba-bee-bee-bee is the best example. Bee-bum, bum, bum, there we are. A fully musical answer. So tremolo stay the same, false fingering, and then trills always go up. Da 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 da. And of course, if you no, it's the note, it's the written note and the note above, unless otherwise instructed. I mean, usually then the note would be written lower, and you'd have to go up. So you get the same result in the end. Interesting question, David Paulson. Interesting question. You get 2 team points for that question. Ben, thanks. Damien, thanks. I have quite fleshy lips, and I already have an E3A and an SM 3.5 mouthpiece. Felt my upper lip doesn't quite fit in. Your secret mouthpiece. Yeah, look, the only thing I would say, can I call you fleshy lips, Damien, is that this looks massive, but it's only massive here. This is still, and this edge is still kind of conventional. There are some mouthpieces. I think Warburton's do a mouthpiece that has a lot more space and generally bigger euphony mouthpieces. But for me, this is incredibly comfortable. I can't say too much because you're all calling Dennis Wick tomorrow morning. This mouthpiece, could I get one now? No, I don't think so. Otherwise, I want 100 for the shop. Thought about your secret mouthpiece size 3. Yes, Damien. Well, look, the 3.5 is a 3 rim with a 4 depth. An E3A is basically E3. What's the E3? That's not the Alliance, is it? E3A. Let me know about the E3A. I'm a little mystified. But you definitely sound like you should have a 3 mouthpiece. And you definitely sound that, to me, you shouldn't go bigger. So don't be tempted with the 3. I think it's more the rim diameter. And if there's not one in the Wick range that works, Warburton do a nice range. And you'd have to test. They've got hundreds in their range. I don't know how many they make. Helen. So the wonderful Michael McDonald that I mentioned, his mother is on. Helen, I was just bigging up Michael. And Michael, if you're watching, thanks for a great hour. I really enjoyed working with you. That was fantastic. And you were so open to new ideas. What a future you have ahead of you. Keep working, keep enjoying it. The most important thing. Great. Hi, Helen. So, Scott. Now, why is my chat frozen? Well, because there's not many more. So we're getting near the end, unless you could think of any more. Yeah, Scott, he's 15 years old and doing grade 8. The polka from 20 Dances, Horowitz Euphonium Concerto, and Ernest Young. So they're not super physical things. You know, I'd be worried, Scott, that there's high E flats and high C sharps going along. It is an Alliance, Damien. Yes. So an Alliance 3A is the same as an SM4. So you might want to think about the 2A or the Alliance 2, which is the same as a 3. That's a pretty decent sized mouthpiece. I actually designed that in 2010. So they're good mouthpieces. They don't, for me, have quite enough color and that's a word, as my current range. But they're all made under the same roof in Poole in the Dennis Wick factory. So it sounds like you need a 3, but you need to find one that just sits right with the lips. So experiment with that. So any more questions, folks? What can we talk? Did you see that there's a symphony orchestra in Japan that are starting concerts in June where face masks and eye protection? I think you have an 18 certificate to get in and watch it. But, you know, there is good news there, is that live concerts like live football are starting to come back. Boy, and have we missed it, you know? I think I mentioned before, I looked at some recordings of the prom concerts a couple of weeks ago, and I was in tears. Just beautiful music. people sitting together in harmony, audiences just hanging on every note. Boy, do we miss that in our lives. But anyway, in the meantime, you've got to take care of your own playing, and you can also, because there's millions of great music. I just bought some new headphones this week. They arrive, I think, tomorrow. Sony, I can't remember the number, 3000 XM. And I'm looking forward actually to a week of listening. I'm going to blank out a lot of spare time where I'd be surfing the internet and just listen to some concerts. I'm going to just get myself turned on to the feeling that we could be playing some live music at some time soon. Oh, that's wonderful, isn't it? Mark, I'm concerned about arthritis as I age. Yeah, you and me both, buddy. Are valve front horns better than upright valves for this? They could be, Mark. I guess it depends where your arthritis is hurting you. So if you've got some joint problems here, then an instrument that has the valves here is going to release some tension from there, quite possibly, because we are where we are, if you know what I mean. In terms of the valve action, it's pretty similar. But again, I think naturally the right arm is a little more in a line, therefore pain-free, more pain-free than if you're sitting holding an instrument doing this. And many people, without realizing, bend that joint anyway, And I say, stop, show me your hand. Wiggle your fingers. 90% of euphonium players play like that. Really unbelievable. Straighten the hand, especially when you're sitting. Get that arm straight. Is a resolution, not a New Year's resolution, but a new Sunday resolution. When you sit down to practice tonight, in 40 minutes, I've got another lesson at 6, 2 more lessons today. So it's no day of rest for me. Oh, the questions are piling in now. What's going on? I was just about to say goodbye. Straight lines. And Mark, yes. Think about that. Think about if it is easier. There are a few good ones on the market. Now, I remember Canadian Brass used to do one. Can anybody list some mentions of good front action euphoniums? If you put them on the chat, would be really interesting, because I've seen 1 or 2 and I've actually secretly quite liked them. So they are going to be different. We're not talking about the German baritone. We're talking about euphoniums with front action. Oh no, if you live in Germany, what's your name? Let's have a look. Hensler. Mark Hensler. Maybe you are German. Maybe you need a German baritone. Any pieces for your new CD? Any pieces for your new CD? Scott, you better explain what you mean. I made 2 CDs last year, and if you haven't bought them yet, you can get Pulse and UFO special cheapie price together from euphoniumstore.net. I'm really happy with both of them. No new CDs at the moment. I'm worried about the CD market long term, Who buys CDs these days? We all want them free on Spotify. Why isn't your new CD on Spotify? Because I'd like to earn a tiny fraction of the money back that I spent on it. Sorry about that. Greetings from Warsaw. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for tuning in. For some time, I've been cooperating with, this was a test for me, Zdzisław Pienik, who sometimes mentioned he had some nice meetings with you in old times. Yes. Until now, I mainly dealt with the realization of the sound, but last year, Maestro Pienik gave me an instrument and he said, play. That's it. Oh, it goes on. A dream about a bigger instrument and sound. Naturally, I thought about the tuba, but your online lessons, also Misa's, encouraged me very much to the euphonium. Wow. That's made my day. That really has made my day. Super. Thank you for this activity. For people like me, enthusiasts without formal education, it's a great help. Many people who love playing never really were taught. They were taught by people in the band, hold it up, lad. Imagine you're spitting off a feather. There's lots been well-meaning advice. So I'm so happy, especially in these days when I'm able to provide online classes, and they're all still there on YouTube and on the Stephen Mead Euphonium Club. If you're new and just following me on YouTube today, please have a look on Facebook at the Stephen Mead Euphonium Club. If you scroll down past various postings, you'll find all seven of their 1 hour sessions. And if you go back to the first one and you've got time, there is, believe it or not, some logical progression through them. There is. Don't go back the other way. He said all before. He keeps repeating himself. Could be age. But thank you very much from Warsaw. That's really lovely. Thank you, Mark, from Ohio. Fantastic. Scott has all my CDs. Yes, you are a devoted, kind follower of Stefan Fleisch. Stephen Mead. Sorry, I was giving you my German name. I was thinking of Germany then. Very good. Wessex has a compensated front action euphonium. That is true. I have seen a picture, as well as a compensated double bell. Don't worry about double bell euphoniums. They're great. But the compensated front action, that could be of use. Mark, Wessex has a nice catalogue online. A lot of instruments they make I'm not a big fan of, but that could be. And Wilson, I knew Wilson have done one, whether it's still available. Exactly, yes. And the older ones, the vintage cons, are fine, but they're all kind of narrow bore and very good for bird scaring rather than playing seriously. Because, just music from a different period, unless you, whoops, people telling me how much they love cons. Okay. Con man. Yes, good. Happy smiles. I'm happy about that. Only thing is that the cons are non-compensating. Yes, they are. And they tend to be smaller bore, I believe, Joel. But check out that Wessex, because it's not going to be expensive either. So if you're looking for one, front action euphonium, there's not much demand for it, but there is a perfect reason why we should have a go. Well, there's no more questions on the chat. It's 5:25. I feel like I've been talking for 15 minutes. You may have felt like I've been talking for 3 hours. So I've enjoyed this. We'll do one more Q&A next Sunday, and that will be the last for now. I am hoping to do another one session, longer teaching session in a couple of weeks. It'll be a 2-hour session, a kind of 10 till 12. Just to go through everything, give you some new ideas. I'll post some music on the Euphonium Club a few days before. So it'll be a 2-hour session in a couple of weeks, Q&A next Sunday afternoon. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's great to meet people, some for the first time, some to see friends that I've known for many years. And yeah, I hope we can all meet face to face in the coming months. 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, and we'll look back on these rather difficult months not with fondness, but oh my god, we survived through that, and our band is playing better, and we all came back super motivated, and that's what's going to happen. But we have to make it happen. We have to believe that the future is good, and those that are in an improved situation in many Asian countries, look after your students, motivate them, motivate other people in your band. If you sense that some people are waning in their enthusiasm, you're the man or lady or boy or girl to encourage people. That's what it's about, getting through this. The love of music, the love of playing together, and the love of music playing to a high standard is exciting, and it's what makes the world go round. So thanks, guys. I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to have a nice cup of English tea, maybe a cake. I don't think we've got any cakes, but we have some nice tea. So have a lovely Sunday evening. Take care, everyone. And I'll post this. This will be on the Euphonium Club as a link in case you missed it. Bye-bye, guys. See ya.